the City of Pflugerville Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for Thursday, November 16th, 2023. The time is 7:04 p.m. Citizens communication. The commission welcomes comment on parks and recreation items. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have anybody from the public who would like to
I
speak?
think we have at least one.
Okay. All right, if you'll, just go up,
Yeah, just
right
right over
there.
there at Michael's spot would be fine.
That way it'll get recorded. People will be able to hear it. And just remember to state your name and address for the public record.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ray Trevino. I live here in Pflugerville at 3005 Falling Rain Circle. I've been a resident now for almost 2.5 years. I'm here I'm the community coordinator for a group called Healthy Kids Running Group that we have kids from 2 years old to 14 years old. The 2-year-olds, we run at Lake Pflugerville, and without the help of the Parks and Rec department here, we would not be able to do this in Pflugerville. So we've had 2 seasons in the spring and the fall, and we're going to do it again next spring. So I just want to thank the Parks and Rec department, Emily, also part of the city manager office that's here, but Shane, Jonathan, and Bays have been great help for bringing this program here. So in the spring, we had over 150 kids. 2-year-olds run 50-yard dash, 75 run, the 2 and 3 run 50-yard dash, 4 and 5 run 75. Kindergarten and first grade run quarter mile, and then second and third grade run half a mile, and 5th grade all the way to 8th grade, or 14 years old, run a mile. And it's been a great thing for the community, and we had 160 kids in the spring. Out of those 160, 86% were from Pflugerville. So it's one of those programs that is good for the not only for Lake Pflugerville, for the city, but it's getting these kids getting out there in the sun running, and it's just so much fun. And we've had several of the council members go out there and support, and I'm here just telling you that I do appreciate all the support that you guys are giving me, even though you guys may not know about it too much, but I know some of the guys here do. But I just want to thank you guys publicly for allowing us to do that here in Pflugerville. I should have been pointing this way, the camera's over here. But at the same time, it's great, and we look forward to having many more seasons out here. We've been trying to not negotiate, but trying to set dates, and I talked to Bates this past week, and we got the date set for the spring. So if you guys want to volunteer, we always look for volunteers out there. Mm-hmm. I know you guys cannot comment on a lot of things I'm saying here, but if you guys want to volunteer, we'll be out there on Sunday afternoons at 2 o'clock at Lake Pflugerville, 2 o'clock, and we get out there about 1 o'clock to set up, and then we have our races start promptly at 2 o'clock. We have the kids out there warming up at 1:45, and we have a lot of PE coaches, actually, from some of the schools that are out there helping out. So it's great. It's a great thing. My 10-year-old son, I do have a 10-year-old son. I've been through Pflugerville. I had 3 sons previously, and I started all over again. So maybe this time I can get it right. So the thing about it is that he's out there and he loves it. His friends are out there. We have kids from all over. So it's a wonderful program, and I do appreciate you guys allowing us to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Let's move to item 3A, approval of minutes. Discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on September 21st, 2023. Did everyone get a chance to read them? Yep. Any comments, corrections? No? All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Chelsea. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are going to move up item 5A. Discuss and consider action on Murchison Trail Development Parkland dedication. Yeah, if y'all just, anytime you talk, if you'll just sit there, that way we get it on the recording. All right, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Larry Foose. I'm the Parks Project Manager, and I'm going to be presenting the project to y'all tonight, the dedication, and then we've got Pulte Homes here to stand for questions.
Oh, you've done it now. The two of us are in trouble. I'll just hit it.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, what we're here discussing tonight is the Murchison Tract development. It's an 83-acre development, 207 total lots with 72 single-family and 135 single-family mixed-use residential units. Okay, and this is the property in yellow and how it aligns with the property to the left in dark green that we brought to you last month. That's the Camera 96 property. And then city property is the light blue area with 1849 Park to the right of the Murchison Tract, and it will provide that continuity and connectivity that we're looking for with as development comes on. And here is the Parkland dedication requirement. Based on the 207 units and the 83 acres, the acres required with this development is 3.83. What the developers are proposing is 4.79 acres and an additional 25.41 acres that are in the floodplain for a total of 30.2 acres. And with this type of development, with that required amount of acres, the Parkland development fee required is $144,090. And this is another exhibit of showing the layout of the lots, and then the park property is in yellow and green. The green is the 4.79 out of the floodplain, and the yellow is the 25-plus acres in the floodplain.
That's Cameron Road on the left.
Yeah, Cameron.
And then this is another view, same shot. All of the public parkland is in green, and the orange line to the top is a 6-foot connector sidewalk that
Right here.
the developers will put into the project. And then the purple is a 10-foot wide trail that will go throughout the property and then connect down to ultimately into 1849 Park.
So the orange is connecting the two housing areas, and the purple, or whatever color that is part of the trail connection.
And the sidewalk connection is just a shade under 1,200 linear feet, and there's the distances right there. The 10-foot public regional trail is a little over 2,000 linear feet. And then the summary of everything I just talked about, they're dedicating more acres than what's required, the 4.79, and the 25.41 acres additionally in the floodplain for a total of 30.2 acres. And what the developer is also proposing is one or more of the following: enhanced trailhead, trailside beach, or bench setting, I can't even talk, seating, a playground, picnic area, and a dog park. And then just to summarize everything again, required parkland dedication is 3.83. They're going above and beyond that. Total proposed parkland dedication 30.2. We're also working on a maintenance agreement to help us take care of the property. Parkland development fee is $144,090, and staff recommends approval. And we have Pulte Homes. We've got Anaya Johnson. Anaya Johnson, I was so close.
Okay.
With Pulte Homes, and he'll stand for questions.
At what point will you make the decision as to one or more of the park amenities?
So we are in the, we're still in the preliminary plan, or preliminary plat phase right now. We hope that by the end of the construction plan phase, which timing of it, we're hoping comes to fruition by this spring, we will have that more nailed down, and we will work with staff to figure out of the amenities that we program in, which of them will go toward the park development fee, and what will be the remaining park development fee to be paid as a fee in lieu. And we also welcome any feedback if you have preferences of one type of amenity over the other that we can take back into our programming considerations. We're happy to hear any feedback that you might have.
Absolutely. One of the few frustrations y'all have had with development, y'all been excited about development, y'all been excited about the green space that we get, is sometimes we understand it might be one thing, and then throughout the realization of what maybe is sometimes years afterwards, it costs a lot more to do that trail or a lot more to do that playground. There was a little bit less. So they're great talking about, here are a couple of these options you could ask for, specifically say to us as a staff the options you want us to work on. And it seems like they're actually moving quicker than some of these other developments, so maybe that timeline won't get as far away on the, I know sometimes we see a volleyball court and 10 years later we can't afford a volleyball court. We're trying to work with development to make sure those things don't happen, but we also want to make sure if y'all have a preference that is stated in the discussion.
What technically is an enhanced trailhead? I'm just curious what that means. as
So
far as
we have a
this.
standard trailhead that we created through the bond program, and it's and I can bring that to you in a future meeting, but it shows exactly what we're calling our trailheads. This is a compromise between what that is and no trailhead at all, basically, and upgrade some sort of trailhead amenities, but without being what we would standardize as what we would want in any of our future trailheads that we were installing. So the restroom, essentially some of those types of things that maybe they wouldn't be putting in, but they'd still be putting in a connection either from a parking area or a cul-de-sac potentially, or a gathering space in one spot that might lead you to that trail amenity.
Is there, I'm not very familiar with the surrounding areas, is there a need for that? So this is a very large trail system with a lot of connectability. Is it something that, like an enhanced trailhead or restrooms or some kind of amenity like that, or parking, is that really needed in that area, or is there a lot of that already within that system?
We don't have any trailheads proposed that are gonna fit the standard that we're working on through the wayfinding signage, through the trail improvement section of the bond. We do have, if you can see my mouse, I can't even see it, okay, everyone can see the mouse now? Obviously, this is a floodplain that we would use to connect all three of these parcels. Our 1849 Park, which is this T, the Murchison Tract, which is what we're hearing about tonight, and you can kind of see a thin maroon line that would provide some of that, and then the Cameron 96 that y'all heard last time in September, and a couple of the options where it connects one to this side of the Carmel and the other one that it connects over here. So if you're a resident and you're in this area and you want to get to 1849, or you're in this area and you want to get to 1849, you can go to the end of your road in one of these enhanced trail amenities, and you can start walking across, or you can get in your car and you can drive all the way out to, potentially Weiss, and drive all the way down to Cameron and come all the way over. And so in some ways there is reasoning that you would look for some of these enhanced trail options, because these people in these neighborhoods, if they wanted to connect to 1849 by the trail system, would have kind of like a milestone type marker saying, hey, this is how you get to 1849 from this neighborhood. Are there other things that y'all might value more? Absolutely, if you're interested in that. But having something that announces through our wayfinding signage and through our standards that this is the way that you're getting to 1849, or maybe even another parcel of an amenity along the trail that we might do to beautify or enhance in the future as well, could be stated and advertised and kind of draw you to it from those neighborhood outlets. So it's just, if you could pick them all, I'm sure you would. They're saying, if you could pick one or potentially even two, what were the ones that y'all would be really interested in, and then staff will have that direction and work with them to try to ensure that we can at least get a couple of those if that delta is allowed through the finances.
All right, any other questions, comments, discussion? No? Okay.
Any preference on staff, or we'll just work in whatever fits within our master plan and kind of what we're working on?
Can you bring it back to us at the time of development and ask for recommendations, or does it need to be stated here?
I think the preference would be to hear about it now, even if it's just, you know, let's say that y'all didn't state it now, and then we work, and I work really hard, and I'm beating them up a little bit to get this, whatever it is, and then y'all come back like, oh, that's not what we wanted, we wanted this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would rather have some talking points to at least start with. And then from there, I could bring something back, but, would like to know the direction y'all want to head, and if y'all are, fine with whatever staff's preferences, we can roll that way as well.
Okay. Does anybody have a strong opinion?
I mean, I love, I mean, playgrounds are always amazing, you know. I think it brings a lot of families out to these types of areas where if it's a trail, it might be more of kind of like running, biking, walking, and adding, you know, playgrounds brings a little bit more of a community element to it. But I think I'm also a little, I have a young kid, so I also just really enjoy playgrounds. Trailside bench seating allows for a little bit more of like an equitable access to trails for people to be able to take a breather if they need to take a break while they're walking the trail system. I think that that's also a really great amenity to have, especially with that large of a trail system.
Sure.
One of
I
my-
think
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in my mind, I was like, they all look lovely, except I don't really see a need for a picnic area.
Okay.
That would just be because 1849 isn't
Yeah.
that far.
I agree.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna truck a picnic basket way out there.
No.
My biggest concern would be lighting, because, that, like Chelsea mentioned, that's gonna be a long trail, and, you know, out in the middle of nowhere, out in the nowhere out there, right? It's still pretty dark out there at night.
Sure, the enhanced trailhead or even the playground would probably connect, and we would either work with them or work with whatever we're doing on streets to make sure any type of bleed opportunities coming off the street side to light that area, just like we do most of our pocket parks. Very few of our pocket parks have lights in them. They're serving that neighborhood. You can see them off the street. There may be some perimeter lights depending on how close they are to the trail or a couple other amenities. You definitely, I wouldn't suggest putting a playground halfway between this entrance point and 1849 Park. Once again, much like a
Right.
picnic table, you're
Yeah, you're not gonna.
hoofing it all the way out there. If they go to the restroom or something, then you're sprinting back. And so some of these amenities would be very close to whatever end cap potentially off that road, off that neighborhood would be. Some of them, obviously, bench seating could be there as well, but you might see some bench seating further down. And we have plenty of benches in our park system that don't have lights next to them.
Right.
The great thing, and I'll show you when we get back to director's report, some of the stuff we're working on with playground improvements. And once we're done with the playground improvements we've worked really hard on over the last 4 or 5 years, we'll have some capital outlay in future budget cycles to look at shade and lighting and some other things to enhance our trails, especially since we're trail capital in Texas. So I think we could do some trail amenity stuff already in the future. But this is potentially an opportunity to work with the development to get some of that now. So it's just, of those things, do you have a preference, or do you just want staff to work off, you know, what we would like to see in that area?
And one quick question, whenever you were talking about the trailhead, I don't know, I might have misheard, but so this would allow the community within the development to have more clear and
Right.
direct access to the trails. They would maybe have to go out of the neighborhood and access it from a different point. That type of amenity, while it would probably mostly just benefit that community and not the greater Pflugerville community, I think it would be, I don't know, kind of unfortunate to put in a really awesome development and then have a trail directly adjacent to that development and not have
Some
any
enhance.
level of access
Sure.
to that trail from that community.
Sure. And we have some trails that just stub straight in from the neighborhood, but this is kind of a wider berth, maybe some, you know, some plantings, maybe even some benches there, something that basically acts like a trailhead without hitting our standard of a trailhead, which we're working on now, but would have restrooms and a couple other things.
Okay.
I'd like to offer a motion that we defer to the expertise of the staff in this matter.
Okay. Thank you, Carol. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
So just for clarification, was that also approval of the item?
Yeah, that's heading to
Fantastic.
planning and zoning now. Congrats.
Thank y'all so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
You worked for City of Austin.
I did.
Yeah. I worked with you at the 2017 bond program. I would have meetings with
We
you.
did.
Yeah, it's nice to see
I was looking
you.
across at you the whole time. 'Cause you look so
I know. I was like, you look familiar. And then you said his name and you corrected it. I was like, that is his name.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
Good to see you again.
yeah, good to see you too. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, item 4A, discussion regarding directors' updates, including information about project status reports, upcoming special events, and staffing.
Good evening, Commission. Got some updates for you here. First, we're working on CIP and bond projects. We're Willow Creek Phase 2 went to council, just recently got approved Tuesday. Patton is the construction company. So already got design, already had construction bid. We've already selected our construction company, so moving forward on working on Wilbarger Creek Phase 2 now. Bowles House is anticipated, got a mid-December, early December move-in. Punch out was today.
Yes.
A lot of us were at the our regional conference was today, and the park maintenance rodeo was yesterday, and so most of our park staff has been in San Marcos these last 2 days. But Desmond was there for Punch Out to represent the city, and our staff will get over there in the next couple days and see if we can blue tape anything that might have been missed and go from there. So we're getting really close on Bowles House. Heritage Park, we're working on doing some. So there's an ADA master plan completed middle of last year, I believe, maybe early of last year. And we have been putting in the CIP that y'all see us present to y'all every year. Had some ADA improvements. We're focusing on trying to exhaust all the ADA improvements from year one on our marching orders that we've been given from the plan for Heritage Park. Taking the DG loop and making it concrete, taking some of the parking spaces and making them actual ADA spaces, or making them ADA eligible when they're in their transition, some of those things that we're seeing out there. So just getting Heritage Park up to snuff on the ADA side. And then the water tower in Old Town Park, the rehab and the illumination portion of that project just got approved at council recently, and they're gonna be taking care of some of the lead paint and other things that happens with an old historic water tower and getting it ready for illumination. And then we're gonna be working, part of the CIP that y'all approved last year was $400,000 in design on merging those two parks and making that Old Town Park and the water tower area, making that a really cool spot that talks about the heritage of Pflugerville, and maybe as a collector or something for people to come out, maybe have some education, but some also recreational opportunities. We've reached out and talked to some firms that we have some relationships with on what next steps would look like in design side. So we're super excited. When I know more, I'll definitely provide more info, but know that the city's moving forward on renovating and re-envisioning those spaces as well. What is going on? We have some PCDC grants that we're getting to carry out. So the playground replacement at Royal Point, we had already done the shade. 6 or 8 months ago, we had a storm, and we were able to replace the shade from the storm. So this is just the playground underneath it. You see all 3 concepts that are coming from Playwell. And then shade installation at Pflugerville Heights and Black Locust. At the time that those were approved, we had 4 parks that still had no shade over them. These were 2 of them. You'll see in a slide upcoming that we're prepared to actually cover our next 2 parks as well with shade. So we'll hopefully by the end of 2024 have no playgrounds without shade, which is we're really excited about. And so the construction, they're going to be running in parallel. They're going to start to install Royal Point, and you see these really nice masonry borders that Junior makes sure all of our guys, all of our vendors put in as a requirement, is a nice way to keep all that mulch in and keep a nice separation between the mulch and the green space. And when the vendors are working on that, spots are gonna go over and start doing some shade install as well. So we're hoping both these projects, both the shade at the two locations and the playground replacement, all start around the same time and I'll end about 3 weeks after. So a little after Thanksgiving and hopefully before Christmas, we'll see a new playground and 2 new shade structures over there. Then our game time grant, we have a game time grant that's gonna help us replace with some funds from our park escrow as well, help us replace Cambridge Heights Park playground and also add this really cool feature here, which is this NFL type play 60 obstacle course. So, you know, the kiddos will start at a post and they'll be able to weave back and forth through these little bollards and they'll be able to climb up this thing and then they'll have to navigate through this and they'll have to run up this little hill and balance here, navigate through here, jump back and forth and finish. And they'll be able to race each other and timing pedestal. And there's some really cool functions that happen with this. That's part of a grant as well. And that'll also be at Cambridge Heights. So Cambridge Heights is getting a new playground, some new shade, and this play amenity as well. So it should be a really cool feature for that side of town. Also working with Game Time on Gillen Creek to not only replace but really improve the experience at playground over there. For that being a park that is so beloved and so well used, that playground is old one, but it was pretty small for the amount of population that we saw going through that park. And so this will be, it'll be an upgrade. Kelsey, it's 3 different play sections?
Yes.
Yeah, so it'll be a great improvement to the experience over there. And I didn't put it on here, I should have. We're also going to be working on updating the pavilion out there. So, and just, you know, it's felt like for the public, I'm sure at times with their frustrations over some of the things that had gone on over there with the pool side, but the pool's getting a new bathhouse, a new restroom. I think it was renovated in 2017 or 2018 as far as the actual pool guts, the pump house and the decking and all that. It's got that outdoor fitness piece out there. It's gonna have a new playground, which is new and improved. It's gonna have a pavilion renovation. So that whole park's getting a facelift, which we're super excited about. Other capital outlay projects that we're working on or will be working on between now and the end of 2024, Geneva's Park Pavilion. That was part of last year's that we just had some delays. Heritage Park is getting an upgrade, so that's another one of those parks that through the freeze, Scott Mincer Pool is their decking, their pump house, all that was renovated. We've seen Bowls and Heritage houses that had some paint improvements, and there's been some improvements to the gazebo. Bowls house is getting a complete renovation. We're doing all the ADA improvements. Dave will be able to talk later about the food forest that we've put out there. And then on top of that, we're going to be replacing that playground. So once again, another complete renovation of these park spaces. Mallard Pond is getting some improvements through the Murchison Mallard section of the bond, but it also has an older playground. A lot of these Falcon Points all went in at the same time. So it's a really small playground, so we're happy to be able to fit it in with these others. Central Park is a large playground. It's going to get it's a large park and it's well loved. We have one half, the HOA has the other half of that area. It's time for that one to get a complete replacement. That's one of the ones that doesn't have shade. And then Zola Park is a very small park, but we have some funds that are gonna help from some development near that area. And it doesn't have shade. And so once we do the shade on these 2 parks, every playground in our park system should have shade, which we're super excited about. Also, when I got here 4.5 years ago, the average age of the playground was right around 13. We had 14 playgrounds over 15 years or older. Anybody in the industry will tell you 15 years is about the time you start thinking about replacing playground pieces. And we had 14 of them that were beyond 15 years old. We had one that was it 24, Junior?
Yeah, 26 years.
Yeah. Junior wasn't even born, you know. And so,
Like old
So-
steel slides.
So we've moved we've moved the needle on some of the playground replacements we've brought to y'all over the years from 13 to 8.3, which is where we are currently. And when we get these playgrounds here at the end of 2024, even factoring in the new year of growth for all the old playgrounds, our average age of our playgrounds at the end of this time of year from now will be 3.7. So we'll have no playgrounds in our inventory in the double digits. Every playground will be 8 years or under. And so, talk about a recruiter for the community and making sure it's equitable no matter where you live in the community. We'll have a playground system with the playground average of 3.7 and not one playground in our whole inventory being over 10 years old. So once we get to that point, and if 15 years is the replacement, and understanding that shade puts an extended value at times to the life of a playground, even though I think we would all recommend that once you get to 15, we should probably start that playground replacement. It shows that we'll have some capital outlay dollars in the future to really apply to other things that we've been delaying, whether it's shade along the areas of the trail or other safety improvements of some sort, like those trail phones or whatever we want to do next. But at one time we had a lot of different signs in the system. Now that all of our signs are organized, they're all those masonry block. We had a bunch of playgrounds that were older. We had a bunch of playgrounds that didn't have shade, and we've rectified all that. So by the end of this time next year, our playground system is going to be unlike anybody else's in the country. I don't know anybody in the country that's anywhere near 3.7. So it's been hard work, a lot of support from leadership and y'all to make sure that happened, but we're very happy to be able to present that to y'all.
What's the expected lifespan of those shade things?
Shades, it kind of depends. We get 5 to 7 years out of them. They're one of those things that any type of real bad windstorm, rainstorm, even ice storm at times can really affect those.
Right.
But we have some that have lasted more than 10 years, and we have some, depending on the knucklehead kids that live next to it, that don't last more than a year or two. So overall, they would last a good long time if they never had to deal with any type of the weather and they never had to deal with any type of vandalism. It's just not the case in most public park systems. It's just something that they're exposed to. Luckily, we have insurance for a lot of that, and we do get some help. Once again, Royal Point had some insurance. We've had other times that some of these shades that we've brought to you have had insurance issues. If you didn't have some of those other exterior outside influences, you would only really be worried about color fading on a shade. But yeah, depending on the park and what's happening in that time of the year, but weather or if the kids are out of school, sometimes we see more vandalism than others.
Thank you.
Just a couple miscellaneous things. So I brought to you all a while back. It was actually in the summer. Someone ripped through our gate at at the lake. They were trying to turn around and they got freaked out and they didn't know what they were doing and they just ran through and sped off. Ultimately, we were able to find the company that did it and they were able to replace it. It's taken a while to get to that point, but the gate motor's been replaced and it's operational. Due to an unpreventable issue with the pool heater just crapped out on us at Gillen Creek at one point. And it's not an off-the-shelf piece. It's not something I can just go to Home Depot and buy a new pool heater. So they had to manufacture the part, and so it took a couple weeks. And knowing our luck, that happened at some of the cooler times that we've had. So we had to push a lot of kids to Windermere, but that's a smaller pool. And we've seen the growth of the ISD programs in the last couple of years. We've seen 2 teams grow to 4, and you've got an 8-lane outdoor pool that then you only have 4 lanes that you're trying to fit everybody in at Windermere. And so if you heard any complaints from that's the genesis of what happened there. And it's been installed and it's working, and now it's 70 degrees, so they don't even need it. But I should have just told them to wait. But eventually it'll get cold again, and we'll have the heater to keep them warm. Speaking of vandalism, Moose Park slide, which is new, y'all just saw that replaced 6 months ago. It was vandalized to the point that it couldn't be repaired, so it's having to be replaced. We've talked to insurance and we're doing everything we can, but we're moving forward on getting it replaced because we don't want something just sitting out there damaging kids. And then it was more of a funny story. Luckily, it all worked out, but we had some seniors going to an HEB, going to a hockey game at the HEB Center, and the tire blew out on the fast lane of 45 Friday at like 7 o'clock. And I get a call, and they had pulled over to that inner lane, so those cars are zooming. And we were able to get some staff and get another van, and we drove out there to them and we worked with TxDOT to create some little bit of safety, and we pulled up and we pulled some rows out in the back so they could exit out the back without having to exit out to the side, and they walked between the busted van and the guardrail, and they got onto the new van. And by the time it took us to get all that, we were a little delayed. So instead of going to HEB, they found a restaurant to eat at on us, and they chose a steakhouse. So
Smart people.
big shocker there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told staff I should have told them McDonald's, but no, they. We heard they went to a steakhouse, they had a lot of fun. And what's funny, talking to a couple of seniors getting off, some of them were like, "This is the most fun I've had in a long time." You know? So it didn't seem to bother many of them, but you know, all part of the job. Recreation program update, Jonathan.
Hello, everybody. Jonathan Hansen, Recreation Superintendent. So I broke it up this week into kind of two different areas. So the recreation classes, those are the ones that are going to be happening on a regular basis. I will preface by saying holidays are coming up, so it can affect the schedule a little bit. But we have yoga. We also have high-low, which it goes back to the beginning days of cardio aerobic fitness. So if you really want to relive those 80s VHS tapes, high-low is for you. Total body, that's a total fitness class, so it includes yoga, Pilates, bar workouts, and free weights. So we also have our other recreation programs. The kids will be going out to McKinney Falls State Park for a trip. We have our fall fun camp coming up, which is next week. It's hard to believe that it's already here. Staff is prepping for those kiddos to be in camp right before Thanksgiving. D&D Club is still meeting. We also have our esports tournament. We do have a holiday ornament craft night coming up, so get you in the holiday spirit. Board game night, as well as another trip to the Texas Science and History Museum, and then another esports tournament right before our next Parks Commission.
Does that ornament craft night have an age limit to it?
I will double check on that for you.
I can Google it too. I was just curious.
It's always been family in the past. I think.
Yeah, I think it.
Sometimes they cap it at like 3 or something, like no one under 3 though.
Yeah, I'll check on it for you. Senior program updates. So the seniors are about to be very, very busy. So they have the card clubs going on, chair yoga, the Blue Genie Art Bazaar, which is it's an Austin-based holiday market, and so they'll be going to visit that. Bingo, the Peppermint Parkway, which is at the Circuit of the Americas. It's also a holiday type market. They'll be going out for Foodie Fridays to Mandola's Italian Kitchen. They have a DIY greeting card class. Quick note on that one, those seniors actually love that greeting card class so much, they now get together outside of the program and do their own greeting cards without staff. So they also come to the one that staff does, but they have their own club now. So Loteria, which is Mexican bingo, coming up. Christmas Carol at the Georgetown Palace Theater. The Driscoll Christmas Tree, they're going to do a trip out there as well. Painted Pumpkin Seed Poinsettia class, or poinsettia, depending on, I guess, how you say it.
Where you grew up.
Yeah, so that will be a fun, another art type program, and then a movie night at the Rec right there before Christmas time.
Are there any non-Christmas events happening for other people?
Yeah, so all of these are open to anyone who would like to come for our senior year programs. A lot of them, so obviously things like the Christmas Carol at the Georgetown Palace Theater and the Christmas Tree are Christmas themed.
Right.
But things like the Blue Genie Art Bazaar and Peppermint Parkway and all the other events are, they're open for anyone.
We also permitted the menorah lighting this year.
right.
Yes.
That'll be an event as well that we're going to be, we're not putting on, but we're helping make sure it's a
Right.
great event and that people know about it. So,
I'm just a little sensitive to our nod to diversity and
Yeah.
not following through on it later.
okay.
Absolutely. So next up is the Fall Creek Cleanup. I wanted to highlight this program. So this is actually something that we got a grant for. It's a $500 grant from Zen Water.
You can see our Zen Water rep right
Yeah.
there.
And it's sponsored by Keep Texas Beautiful. So we were in the Governor's Community Achievement Award this year. 4 programs just like this. So this was a 2-part cleanup. The first part was on September 23rd, and the second part was on November 9th. These numbers are pretty outstanding. They collected an estimated 1,125 pounds of logs and natural debris from Gilliland Creek, and they collected around 200 pounds of litter out of the creek. So that's pretty incredible. You can see the picture on the right is just from the second cleanup alone. So that's a gator full just in one cleanup, so you can imagine 2 of those. Staff did a great job out there helping, and we're excited about getting some volunteers out there and making these creek cleanups part of our upcoming programming, including an Adopt a Creek program to add to our Adopt a Trail and Adopt a Spot. So I also wanted to mention we have the Lone Star Programming Award. So as Shane mentioned, we were at Central Region for Texas Recreation Park Society today. Ashlyn Chambers, she's our Recreation Program Coordinator. She won a programming award for a program she did in February called Escape Room in a Box. So you can see that's it on the left. It includes everything that someone would need to do their own at-home escape room. And so we're really, really proud of her for her creativity on that project.
She got the award today.
She got the award today.
We didn't get to be there because it was at a social afterwards, so they're all there now. But
We did get a picture of it, and we'll include that in the future updates. So we're very, very proud of her. Special event highlights. So we have the festive farmers markets going on. So the 2 in November are kind of more Thanksgiving themed. The 2 in December are more holiday themed. What these are is there'll be special vendors there, kind of focusing more on the holiday type things that people might want to buy. That's at Heritage Park on those dates. We have a dual event coming up. So we have Coffee and Fuel, which is on December 2nd. That's also the date of Festival of Lights. So Coffee and Fuel will be that morning from 9 a.m. to 11. That is the car show on Main Street. Roads will shut down early. They're going to shut down at 6 a.m. on that day and will stay closed until 8 p.m. Because the Festival of Lights, which is the holiday parade, will be happening on Railroad, Wilbarger, 2nd, and Main Street from 3 to 8. In Suite 500, which is the City Hall complex, there will be a stage with performers and a couple of food vendors in there as well.
yeah, just plan to stay with us all day then.
Yep. Permitted events, we have the Feathered Fun Run coming up, so chance to run off all that turkey that everyone's about to eat.
And that is Thanksgiving Day.
It is Thanksgiving Day out at the lake. Hopefully the weather's nice, and you can go out there and sweat off all that dressing. So we also do have, as Shane mentioned, have the menorah lighting coming up. So this is a permitted city event. So an outside organization applied for a special event permit. The menorah will be installed. So Hanukkah is December 7th through the 15th. It will be installed just after December 2nd at the Festival of Lights in front of Wordisms, which is our office.
Yeah.
And it will stay there until December 11th. On December 11th, staff will move that to the Best Little Plaza. They will do the menorah lighting. They'll have some giveaways there, take pictures, all those kind of things. It'll stay up from 6 to 8. Staff will then move it back to the Wordisms building for the rest of Hanukkah season. And that way, what it's supposed to represent is our diverse community, and bringing everyone together and fostering a sense of unity is the purpose of that event. So.
Has anyone ever approached the city for a Kwanzaa celebration?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not since I've been here.
Okay.
They would also be able to go through the special
Yeah,
event permit
yeah.
process, and our staff.
This may spur that on.
Yeah, it might.
Our staff, our business ops staff, work really, really hard to try and permit as many events as we can within protecting the parks, so and the spaces that we use.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Now, everyone raise your right hand and say, I understand this is just a draft. Okay. This is the shirt I saw. We're working on some shirts. I wanted to show you some design. So this one is Fa La 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 with the PF.
That is cute.
You can see the Texas flag, but then the water tower with the little Santa cap, and
Very cute.
that's going to be one option. We also have there are no F words in Pflugerville shirts, so this is a Christmas version of that. Just a holiday reminder, there are no F words in Pflugerville. Just remind you of with the Christmas story theme, from the movie that
Yeah.
anyone younger than 30 won't even know what I'm talking about. Then we have the ugly sweater shirt that we're working on this year. This will be our long sleeve version. Be our first long sleeve that we roll out. This is
That one's really ugly.
this is it's not burnt orange. Be nice. It's supposed to be like the North Face, obviously. North
Yeah.
Face earmuffs. I don't want anyone to come sue us, but it's like Pflugerville shirt. Purple version of the PFTX zip code shirt that has been real popular actually. The last 2 iterations that we've done. We've got the biggest pecan tree in Travis County, so this is our big pecan tree shirt. We've got our rooted shirt, which is also a pecan. Our foresters approved. Just talking about those that maybe grew up, have roots in the Pflugerville area, might feel some affinity to this shirt. And then that's it. Those are our shirts. We have one more potentially that I'm working on. It'd be pollinator themed.
How about one
like that
for
idea.
Hanukkah
A Hanukkah.
and Kwanzaa?
Okay, look at you. Okay, I got some more shirts to maybe work on. We'll see. And do they do an ugly Hanukkah shirt?
No.
Okay.
Well, they might actually. I mean, that would go along with Adam Sandler's.
There you go. Oh yeah, and the Pfluger, we're trying to do something with where it says something about Pflugerville and maybe says friendly, pollinator friendly or something, pollinator friendly or something. So working on something like that as well.
That needs
So
to be tie-dye.
you want it to be tie-dye?
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it to you in one color, and you can do whatever you want.
We actually just do Festival of Lights for Hanukkah,
Oh,
but in blue and white.
there you go. Yeah. I'll create a shirt making session after this. A subcommittee. Our guys were at the Park Managed Rodeo. Our crews were yesterday. For those that don't know what a Park Managed Rodeo is, it's once a year they get to go out and compete against the other park maintenance crews in the area, and they do park specific activities. So nail driver, plant identification, an irrigation one. They do the 0-turn mower. They do the truck and trailer. They do the backhoe. Was there anything else?
You got it, buddy.
Nailed it. Irrigation, yep. And so these guys all sign up and they compete against other folks, and then the top 5 in each category go and compete and represent the central region for the state. So now they're representing Pflugerville, but they're also representing the central region at the state conference, which this year is in Galveston. So guys are super excited. You can see we have nail drive and a 0-turn here. Another nail drive. One of the fun things they do is they sign up to do wiffle ball home run derby, so you can brag about who hit the most home runs. But what's really cool is the photo on the right. It's just a time for them to get away a little bit, hang out with each other, get to meet some other people, expand your network, find out what Round Rock does for their, flower bed maintenance, and maybe it's something where you can learn from as well. And so it's a really cool thing that our crews get to do. The first pair there on the left got 6th place, so they're our first alternate at state in the irrigation. Tony got 5th in nail drive. Jose got 4th in nail drive, and Cordell got 4th in backhoe. So all this crew here will be going to Galveston. The first 3 are guaranteed to compete, and then if a city that got 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st that don't show up in irrigation, these guys will compete for us in irrigation. And if all those teams show up, then they'll volunteer, they'll help judge. So it's still a great professional development opportunity for them. And that's our crew. We're really fortunate. We got a great team. They work really hard. And what I'm proud of with this group is that not just do they serve the citizenry very well, and I think they do. They work really hard for the citizens of Pflugerville. But if another department needs something, they know they can reach out to us, and we feel like that happens from time to time, and hopefully they always elevate to the challenge. So this is a good group here. Really proud to have them here working in Pflugerville. Specifically, some comings and goings. So Cummings, we got Jesus. He worked previously at the Pflugerville ISD, and he's got electrician experience. Plays guitar, drums, video games. Favorite food is carne asada. Clay, we didn't have anything on where Clay came from. Both these guys just started this week. They got to go out to the park manager area. They didn't get to participate because you got to submit all your forms in before this week started. But they got to see what was going on. They were all super excited about it. But he loves hiking, being outdoors, Mexican food, barbecue, brisket, and turkey, and then venison. I guess eating what he catches. We've got a new full-time front desk staff, Angela, at the front. She previously worked at HEB, loves going to the gym. Her favorite meal is that word that I can't, but I got the thing thick. Pupusas? Is that what it is?
I think.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter because it's thick corn tortillas that can be stuffed with various fillings. And then Kenneth, 6 years in municipal government in the area. He loves machinery, hiking, being outdoors. His favorite meal is pizza. Kirsten?
Kirsten.
Man, that name.
You're supposed to mess it up on purpose.
It tricks me every time, man. Kampmeyer's not much easier, to be quite honest. She previously worked at Stillbow Farm in Manor. Loves the bike. Her favorite meal is a charcuterie board, and she's our professional tree hugger, as we call her. She's been. Dave will talk more about her, but she's been inventorying all of our trees and some of our other things out in the park system. And then Serena is a new part-timer. She used to work for facilities. I love spending time with her family. Favorite food is barbecue and wings. And then our goings, Allie went to Pearland, Parks and Rec, where she's a rec superintendent there. Her whole family lived in the Houston area. Allie worked with us in Hutto for a long time and then came over here. So I've known Allie for a long time. So sad to see her go. And then Kelsey, there she is over there. Quite the troublemaker. Gets you all excited and then leaves you high and dry. Kelsey has a great opportunity to be the first female director of Parks and Rec for the city of College Station. So we're super excited for her, and we hope she fails.
Comes back crawling.
That's right. Kelsey's last day is tomorrow. So. And then y'all, I don't know if comings and goings are happening here, but hopefully y'all got my email. We have 4 regular openings and an alternate. Terms that are expiring are Carol, Jennifer, Michael, and Stan. I think, now I got this in October, so I know some people have said they've reached out and done some applications since, I believe. Stan, right? You've at least put your application in, so we have a couple coming in for sure. But just want to make sure y'all are aware, if you're interested in serving in next year, we'd love to have you. There is a special council meeting December 16th, 14th? Gosh, that was so close. December 14th. And you'll have the opportunity to speak to council about what you've done, and if you're still interested, why you want to stay on, and they have the chance to ask you some questions and then reappoint. So for those that are expiring, if you're interested in coming back, we'd love to have you, and if not, see ya. No, I'm just kidding.
Shane, that's a 6 p.m. start for that meeting.
Okay, 6 p.m. start. And then unless you have any questions, that's it. Yes, sir.
I just want to say congratulations for the community impact cover story.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. We're super excited about that master plan and the guidance it's going to give us in the next 2 years, for sure. Worked really hard on it.
All right, 4B, discussion regarding 2023 Deutschen Pfest update.
I'm back again, Jonathan Hansen, Rec Superintendent. So as you may or may not have heard, hopefully may have heard, our annual Deutschen Pfest was on October 20th and 21st. The fun run and community fair was on October 22nd. It was a great time. I said that. Also, people in the surveys said that as well. Hopefully you got a chance to check it out. I printed for you tonight a copy of our after action review. Just to give you a quick overview, inside of this after action review is details about the event. We also have our key performance indicators. So something that Shane has tasked us with is trying to tell our story in numbers. It's hard to measure smiles. but we want to try and do our best to measure those kind of things. So on those key performance indicators, you will see the metric in which we are measuring. The performance on that, we will also have the indication, which is what our hope that we're trying to...
Can we go next slide, or no?
No, you
Okay.
can stay on that one. The indication is what we're trying to measure. And then those indications we have tied to a strategic principle, which are things that our city council has said, these are the important things for us. Those are services, economic development, infrastructure, and safety. So we are trying to tie things at Deutschen Pfest and say, this is why it's important, and it's related to this city goal. So the next slide talks a little bit about attendance. So we had 5,475 tickets sold. You may wonder why the attendee number is different. There are lots of other ways to get into the festival that doesn't include buying a ticket.
Jump in the gate.
Yeah. Things such as wearing your German attire. It also, that attendee number would include bands, vendors, staff would make up a very small number of that too. So the 6,500 attendees, that is everyone who was in the park. That's tracked through our Placer AI data, which is the one that when you click accept on your phone, it tracks those stats. Not exactly where you are, but it does say when you've been in that spot for more than 7 minutes. And we had a lot of people spending a lot more than 7 minutes there. You can see our dwell time, which is how long someone on average spent in the park, was 163 minutes. That is a long time. We hope they enjoyed all almost 3 hours of that. So we hope they had a good time during that, but that's a great dwell time number. We also had 80% were first-time attendees. We compared that via the people who purchased tickets last year, and that rate was about 80%. So we're bringing in a lot of new people. We had 196 fun runners, and then the graph on the left, found this super interesting. So it's broken down to 3 types: citizen, 4 types, my mistake: citizen, local, non-resident, and then out of state. So local would be anybody who's within a 30-minute driving distance, roughly. So those are places like Austin, Leander, Cedar Park. Our second biggest amount of people came from San Antonio, which shows the reach of this event. So we had people coming in from San Antonio. That number was 1,892 people from the San Antonio area.
Yeah, we had more San Antonio people than we had Austin people.
Yeah, which is crazy. So it shows the reach of this event, and that people will travel, even all the way as far as Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Springfield, Missouri. There was one New York in there as well. So people are coming out to this event.
Does that all come from the phone data as well?
No, so that actually comes through Eventbrite, which is what we use to sell tickets. So obviously not everyone who comes into the event purchases that ticket online. But this is for the online data. This is who, where they came from when they purchased their ticket.
Placer's got some zip code information for us too.
Yeah, and Placer also will show where they went afterwards. So,
Do we have any feel for how many people didn't go through Eventbrite, don't have the Placer app, but are still going?
They wore the German attire and just walked in.
Or anybody, like, I was there, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, was my attendance, Chelsea was there too at the booth. I mean, is there any way to catch those as well? Because obviously our attendance numbers are a lot higher than.
that's a great question, and we have already talked about that. So in the after action review, one of the things at the very end is the lessons we learned through this. And one of the things that we've talked about as a staff is tracking people. So having in Eventbrite or whatever system we're using, this person is wearing German attire, so it still tracks that attendance, but they're just not paying anything.
Not just
to
letting
get
them in, but
Right.
we're doing something in the system, noting that for tracking purposes.
That's something on the staff end that we know is an issue. There were about 400 roughly people from the Eventbrite data who were listed as unknown on there, which means they might have paid in person with cash at the gate. That's another one that's not tracked in this, where did they come from? So we are working on that as a staff though.
Okay.
There might be new software or different software other than Eventbrite we can use. Eventbrite's been great in some ways. You know, you can have a QR code at a bus stop. People can scan it. By the time they walk in, there's some ease to it. And knowing from personal experience, when we do stuff on the rec side, there's almost no perfect software. You know, there's just a software that serves most of your needs. That's almost what it seems like in Eventbrite as well. But maybe there's something out there that could provide us the opportunity to track that better than Eventbrite does.
I mean, even if we just had clickers at the gate, right?
Look at you, back to old school.
It works, you know?
We can hand out like tickets and everything.
So next up is the attendee survey. So like I said, the attendees also said that they had a really good time. So we had 122 respondents. 75% said they were likely or highly likely to recommend this event to a family member. 82% enjoyed the entertainment that we had selected. So those are the performers who were on the main stage or the pavilion or the gazebo. There was also an 82% fun run rating. So we actually changed the route this year. In previous years, it had gone onto the road and required street closures. This year was a trail-only run, and people really enjoyed it, 82% of them at least. So on the right side there, you'll see we asked them what their favorite activity was. Each one of those numbers is what when someone said, hey, this is my favorite thing. So you can see live music, 70 people said, hey, that was my favorite thing out of 122. Time outdoors was second, food vendors was third, and then it continued on down from there. So staffing, we had 59 volunteers. 89, almost 90% of those were first-time volunteers. They served, all of those volunteers in total served 310 hours, and it's 310.25, so that's essentially 15 minutes of volunteer hours. Based on the Bureau of Labor, averaging out what that value would be, it came out to $9,865.95. So that's money that we did not have to spend in staff that was covered by volunteers. So it shows how important those volunteers are to this event.
So I have a question. We had first-time volunteers and first-time attendees were very high percentages. Did we track last year, or are you going to track next year to see how many of those return?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, some of this data is things that we had not previously purchased through things like Eventbrite,
Right.
but it is things that we are going to be tracking from now on.
Okay.
And so we will start building where we'll have 3 to 5 years. That's the goal, is to have at least 3 years of data to show what those trend lines are.
Great.
For staff, we had 152 staff. That's a total of 2,185.5 hours worked. That's a total value of $90,567. And that's, we also did a survey for staff who worked. There were 17 respondents there, and 94% said they had a manageable workload. That is one of those sustainability links that we had there, so we want to make sure we're not burning staff out during this event. Next up was vendors. Fetch a Ride, we had 28 unique riders. So those are people who, that was their first time riding. In total, we had 48 riders. So we had some of our usual Fetch a Ride people also using the app to get to Deutschen Pfest. There was a total of 34 trips and $198 spent through the Fetch a Ride system. For vendors themselves, we had 57 of them. 80% were new vendors. We had a lot of new across the board this year. For vendor fees, we did raise the fees on the Deutschen Pfest committee for the vendor booths. There were also 3 levels of booths, each one costing a different amount. And so those fees added up to $23,231. 81% of those people said they would like to return next year to be a vendor for us. So maybe even better for them is that 71% said that they met or exceeded their sales goals at Deutschen Pfest. Marketing. So we had 95 total social posts with 145,000 roughly impressions. I included this picture. You can see we staff did a great job. Gabby, who is our event specialist, created those banners you see, which had all of our sponsors on them, and also had some photo opportunities with Hans on there. And so we are going to try and go full force with that next year. We're going to get more fence paneling, do more banners. We want to brand this event so you know what you're walking into, and it's going to slap you in the face and say, hey, you're at Deutschen Pfest. So, budget. So inside the packet, there is a copy of this so that you don't have to try and read all the little numbers up there. Total expenses was about $248,000. The total revenue was about $118,000. That comes out to a 48.19% cost recovery. This one I did track from last year the best I could, and we were at about 54% cost recovery. So we're pretty much right on track with the cost recovery from last year. And then in 2024, we'll see you on October 18th and 20th for our next Deutschen Pfest.
Well, the October weather was great.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate. Lisa stepped out. She's been coughing a little bit. So 4C is discussion regarding the Pollinator Subcommittee update.
Last time, I promise. So the Pollinator Subcommittee is a subcommittee of this commission, and we meet and talk about all things pollinators. One of the big updates that we wanted to give you is that we recently came up with a purpose statement. So our process for this, we looked at other examples of universities, organizations that have purpose statements for pollinators specifically. We brainstormed concepts, we brainstormed ideas, we looked at specific considerations such as monarch butterflies and potentially becoming a bee city USA here in Pflugerville, and also the unique aspect of Pflugerville. We feel we're unique, and so we wanted to show that off in our purpose statement. So, grand reveal, the Pollinator Subcommittee's purpose is to sow the seeds of a future where Pflugerville champions the unique beauty and significance of pollinators through easily digestible education and cultivating sustainable practice that inspire our community to actively engage in the preservation of diverse native habitats supporting pollinators. So that is the Pollinator Subcommittee's purpose statement. I'll let Chelsea and Jen, if you would like to say anything.
I just really appreciate all of your hard work. I feel like you've been really, really communicative, and those meetings have gone really well. It's exciting to get like-minded folks in the room, and all of us, talk about ways that we can make Pflugerville better. And the purpose statement, I think, really clearly notes what our goals are. I think, and there's a lot of really awesome citizens that have really amazing organizations that they're a part of, that they bring all of that to these meetings as well. I think one thing that I've realized from being on the subcommittee is that there are a lot of volunteer events that sometimes I might not be aware of. Something one note that was made at one of our last meetings is it would be nice to understand as a citizen more where volunteer opportunities are to contribute to those types of events, like the Monarch Project doing the volunteer event at the library, which if I wasn't in that meeting, I would have never known about that. But yeah, I think it's going really great. Jennifer, do you have anything else to?
Yeah, no, I agree. And like Chelsea said, we have kind of a diversity of people on it, and we all have different things we want to bring, and somehow we did get it all into one purpose statement, which is fantastic. Though it's kind of long, I think it's spot on. So yeah, I'm really excited about what we're gonna achieve in this. So yeah.
Having been a teacher, could I make a comment on a grammatical?
Sure.
Yeah. So, champions unique beauty and significance of pollinators through easily digestible education and the cultivation of.
Solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us are word wizards, so we
Takes a village.
I don't know. Daryl, you are a word wizard. We bow to you.
My kids always hated it when I'd say, "Excuse me."
Just a little comment.
And I think too, like one of the other really big emphasis that I'm seeing, and I really think is important is digestible education. Like, how can we make people interested in attending events, workshops, really learn about pollinators, really apply and put pollinators in their own yard, you know, what's
I
sustainable,
love the way
what's the
it's
best.
written. I mean, it's, yeah. But I do wonder about that F word in Pflugerville,
Which one?
future.
Future. You
It
think
needs
it
a
should
P.
be
No.
future? Jennifer's like, no. Did you say no?
I didn't say no. She said, oh.
But I love the way it refers, yeah. I do like the way it refers to all things revolving around
Yeah.
gardens
Yeah, I thought that
and
was
Yeah.
critters. And, yeah,
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
cool. Good job. I like it.
Cool.
Discuss and consider, so we go to 5B, we should be.
Yes.
Discuss and consider action on December 21st Parks and Recreation Commission meeting.
So this is y'all's meeting, and I want to make sure y'all have the opportunity to have this meeting or not have this meeting. I just want to let you know that it's really close to Christmas. We don't have any Parkland dedication. In fact, Parkland dedication folks, usually consultants, they are taking off those weeks. So they actually did not even, we have a Parkland dedication that chose not to be on December 21st, even if we all have it. They wanted to be on January 18th. So we don't have any Parkland dedication to discuss. The rec center will be open, but you can also see that that is the early district release day, and then the next day school lets out for winter break. So anytime that we run into a scenario where it's close to the holidays like this, we always bring that to y'all. It would also be the last meeting potentially for some if y'all didn't come back.
I guess they'll have to come back.
I guess they'll have to, yeah, and we don't give them the last meeting. But we want to make sure y'all have the opportunity to say, yeah, we're interested in this, or no, it's not needed for December, and we'll see you in January.
I'll be out of town, so I'm.
Already a quorum
Yeah.
issue, look at you. We thought a lot of people would be traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the ISD, a lot of folks potentially would be, and I don't know what Austin's and other cities are, but anyone that has kids in our school district potentially would see this date as a date they might have started to leave.
Is there anything critical? There usually isn't December. at
No,
least.
no, the only Parkland dedication that we know about chose that January date. They didn't want to be here if we had December or not. They were not gonna be able to make it that day, so.
I guess my vote would be just to not have it and be considerate of staff and let them spend time with their families. That would be my vote.
I move that we skip it.
I don't wanna spend time with my family. Don't make me do that.
Go spend time with Junior.
Okay. He doesn't want me. He's getting enough of me. Okay.
Do we need do you need a motion? Okay.
I move that we skip it.
Okay, thank you. I will second it. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we will skip the December 21st meeting.
If anyone doesn't come back, can we invite them to the January
Yeah,
meeting?
that happened with Scott last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can't get rid of him, so.
Can't.
He's
Let's
not
invite
even
him,
being
let's
for
invite him to
us.
this one.
Yeah, we should. All right, discuss and consider action regarding composting program support letter.
Yeah, so,
Everybody has that.
I can talk about it if you need to.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So at the, I think the September meeting is when we discussed it. We talked about this kind of high level. The comments that were given were to address this to the mayor. That was feedback, I believe, that you gave to Mayor Victor Gonzalez. And then also to adjust some of the language from curbside compost collection program to just compost collection program to allow for some flexibility of exactly what level of compost program would be considered by the city. And then I made, just so y'all know, if you had read it the first time, like in full detail, like, wait, this looks a little different. I just readjusted some of the way that the information was shown. So it was in paragraphs, and I put it into some bullets to make it a little bit easier to read. I don't know if anyone has any additional comments. Or
I had a question. On the second bullet, talking about San Antonio, the last sentence, The program also donates compost to city beautification projects and to schools. I'm assuming that was local schools, local to San Antonio, but we may want to call that out so that they understand our intent too is for our compost to go to our local schools too. I don't know if that's a big deal, but that was one thing that stuck out with me.
So we could adjust it to say, this program also donates compost to city beautification projects and to their local schools.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. Makes it a little bit more personal.
I agree.
So are we sending this as a commission?
Yeah, so the goal of this is, I believe it was quite a few meetings ago, was the idea of having a letter, and then all of us as a unified
So this
commission
is from the
saying
commission.
this is from the,
That's good. Okay.
yeah, Parks Commission. It would go to Mayor Gonzalez, and then from there, if he supported as well, it would go to City Council, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Great. And then it would be a City Council backed letter that would then go to Public Works after that.
Okay.
Also adjusted some of the words to say, to support Pflugerville citizens in the mission to reduce waste, we request that the Public Works Department negotiate a compost collection program into the next contract when the current contract expires. So I adjusted that sentence a little bit to be a little bit more in alignment with, we're requesting the Public Works Department negotiates that contract. Or the timeline, like when they're negotiating the next contract.
And we talked about that previously.
Yeah.
That's a good opportunity when those vendors are interested in re-upping, or if we have a new vendor, you know.
That's the
Can
time
we
to.
get some extra
do
trash
something like
barrels, can we
this,
get some
yeah.
extra composting area, yep.
I think before I had it like in all caps and highlighted like insert year of
Yeah.
next negotiation, so I just reworded that to be just more nebulous.
Whenever that happens, right.
Is nebulous the right way of saying it? No.
Sounds good.
More nebulous. This hand motion, I feel like we're explaining what I was trying to say.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Instead of focusing on a specific department, not that Public Works is incorrect,
okay.
I think I would ask that council authorize the city manager to do that request, because the city manager oversees all operations of the city, Public Works and all the arms. So if, say for example, the compost component or the recycling component got moved to another department, you just make sure that that's under the umbrella of operations of the city.
Put
So-
Junior's name down?
Or specifically Junior.
So let's see.
So we
to
request
support-
that,
yeah, with
the city manager,
That
We
city
request that
council,
city council direct.
or
this-
authorize the city.
Authorize is much better, yeah.
yeah, authorize the city manager
and then just go to
to
negotiate.
negotiate. Okay, so just to repeat, to support Pflugerville citizens in the mission to reduce waste, we request that the city council authorize the city manager to negotiate a compost collection program into the next contract when the current contract expires.
And the grammatical problem there.
Oh, there's
would
probably
be-
so many grammatical problems.
There
Do you want a
always-
red
I
pen?
don't know,
Like I
there-
said, I'm not a word
Yes,
wizard.
But it would be in the next contract, not into.
Ooh, okay. In the next.
She meant the next two contracts.
Or as.
Into
Or
two
you could make it longer and say as part of the.
Okay. We'll go simple in the.
That's good.
Okay. Any other ones?
You said there's two, right?
The other one is the very first sentence, we come together to share, and it's awkward, so
yeah.
it should be either we did this, we came together, or we members,
We could just scratch out come together too.
yeah,
We share our.
or we are writing to offer strong support or something like
Oh, okay.
that.
Does anyone have a preference? We members of the Pflugerville Parks and Recreation Commission.
Share our stronger.
Yeah.
Share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share our strong support
Yep.
for composting program
Seems like you can.
for the city.
You've already said you're doing it as a group. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have to say you're coming together to do it already.
Okay.
I think you can just say.
Cool.
So do we
Yeah,
need
I just
to,
wanna
do
imagine
we
this is a
need
big
to,
old family.
do we need
Coming
to
together.
move to approve with changes? Is that-
Yeah,
is that
discuss
the answer?
and consider, yeah.
Okay, so moved.
Okay, so Stan moves that we approve it with the changes that Chelsea has outlined. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay.
I beat you to it.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
I was just gonna say too, you did awesome with this. It looks great, it sounds great, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kelsey said that she's
Oh, no,
gonna
or did
see
Stan?
if there's any way we can get like a formal letterhead
She
on
was
it
the
as well to
second,
make
Stan
it
was the
look,
first.
you know, a little more professional.
Okay, awesome.
Tomorrow, Kelsey's going to.
Got a lot to do.
Very last thing.
She can't leave before we keep giving her stuff.
All right, 5D, discuss and consider items on future Parks and Rec Commission meeting agendas.
So we know we have Parkland in January, and we know CIP will start in February, we'll start our new CIP overview for the next budget cycle. So we have those.
I don't know if it's a good time, but I'm interested in the progression of the Parks and Rec projects. I don't know if there is any updates to give.
Like an update off the ones I did today, just more updates on.
Oh, sorry, the new Parks and Rec project, the project.
The new rec
Downtown
center.
East.
The next. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Rex.
Downtown East project update? Yeah.
It's been a really long day.
What about this Parks and Rec director from College Station giving an update? Have I come back here in January?
We could try.
There's always Zoom.
We'll do a formal request. What is this? Is this 6? No, 5.
5D.
I believe at that point, hopefully, we would be ready to give a foundation update as well.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. Any other topics anybody would like to put on the agenda?
So I have 2 updates, Downtown East update and Foundation Subcommittee update.
What was the second one? I'm sorry?
Foundation Subcommittee update.
Oh, good, okay, I was wondering about that.
I didn't say it right the first time.
Okay, so we will move to item 6A, Tree Care Advisory Board. Discussion regarding Urban Foresters update, including information about Arbor Day and Arbor Day school tree
Sit there, wherever
plantings.
you want to sit.
Right here's fine.
All right.
I like the fact that he's dressed like a tree.
This is how I dress.
He's
every
on
day.
brand, yeah. Straight out of
This is
Central
my Sunday
Casting, this
attire.
guy.
Nice.
Alright, so just in the last 3 weeks, we've planted a whole lot of trees. We have 134 in the ground. And Deutschen Pfest and on Arbor Day, I had sign-in sheets for people to sign up for trees to be delivered to their house. Usually for tree giveaways, you give sprouts. Part of the reason we did it this way was, not to sound slimy, but for kind of information capture. So now I have everyone's email. So, and their social security numbers. No, just their emails and phone numbers. So along with confirming that they still want the trees because inhibitions may have been lowered at Deutschen Pfest when they signed the sheet. I'm also asking, do you want updates and other, future forestry events going on? So hopefully we can use some of that information to build into a volunteer force in the future. So I'm going to give, the next few slides are going to be kind of a breakdown of where these 132 trees are. So the Dewey Boers congregation, I think it's of Austin, Dewey Borders of Austin. They're a congregation, it's a global religious organization. Their global leader's birthday was in October. He requested that every congregation around the world plant trees in the month of October for his birthday. It's a pretty incredible thing. So they donated 10 trees. Those are at Finnick Park. You kind of see the bathroom in the background. So it's near the parking lot. Did 1 olive tree, 5 southern magnolias, 2 Texas ash, and then 2 cedar elms. So they're gonna get a lot of shade there, and some real beauty in there, so.
Are these all recommended trees for our area?
So the Texas ash and the cedar elm are both native.
Okay.
The olive tree is not invasive. It is gonna be it's an exotic, but it's not on the invasive species list. I'm not familiar with olive trees personally, but I did get some recommendations for that particular variety. So the southern magnolia is gonna require a little bit more water during establishment, but it will do well here.
Okay.
As long as we can get that little bit extra water to it during establishment. And we're gonna be running some irrigation out to them to help with that, so.
Okay.
And then Arbor Day. So on Arbor Day, we planted 40 fruit and nut trees, or pecan trees at Heritage Park. That is gonna be it's part of a food forest. I'm calling it H3P. I'm gonna say it until everyone starts calling it H3P. That is the very first step. Food forests are a lot more involved than just fruit trees. So I'm gonna try to get with somebody who's better at planning events than me. And Earth Day, we're gonna plant a few more trees, some herbaceous plants, some companion plants in there. So the idea of a food forest is that, and the permaculture strategy of food forest, there's gonna be, everything in there's gonna be edible, medicinal, or there to support the other plants inside the area. So we're going to avoid anything that has any kind of potential toxic lookalikes. So we're not gonna have tomatoes and potatoes because potato fruits look a lot like tomatoes, but will cause serious problems. So, but little things like that. There is a video available on YouTube. Please go look at it. So I think Jennifer's actually stars a couple of scenes there. So. And then the school planning, big shout out to the Tree Care Advisory Board, our subcommittee, and the Parks Maintenance staff. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. But we planted 83 trees on 17 different campuses. There's a little bit of drama here and there, but we worked our way through it. We got it all sorted and got them all in the ground in 1 week. So. Oh, and then the tree giveaways. So what I was talking about with the Deutschen Pfest and the Arbor Day giveaways. Right now, I've sent out the mass email to everybody. I'm waiting for confirmation. I'm giving them kind of until the day before Thanksgiving. That Monday afterwards, anyone that didn't respond, I'm gonna call them and just keep bugging them. And then hopefully that Tuesday we can actually start sourcing the trees for delivery. Also en route is that Santa suit right now. It's on its way to Pflugerville. So Green Santa Claus will be delivering trees to people.
And who will be wearing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who will be wearing it?
I will be.
All right.
I trimmed my beard on the weekend and immediately thought, what an idiot. I should have let it go. So there's some debate in the house if we're going to paint this white or paint it Pflugerville blue to match the go. We'll find out. All right, and then so y'all were introduced to Kirsten earlier. So we've started a citywide tree inventory of all publicly owned trees. Kirsten's leading that, professional tree hugger. So that the method for measuring the trunk of a tree, you need to get the diameter of it. You have to use a diameter tape 4.5 feet above the ground. You measure around it. So she was. So many people were watching her at this park, put the tape on and reach around and grab it. And they were like, what are you doing?
Oh, that's the tree.
So they were like, and you're a city staff? Like, the city's paying you to hug trees? But she was measuring them. I think she actually just finished all the parks yesterday. So inside the parks, we got about 3.8 thousand trees. So she's working on city facilities next. Then right-of-ways. Then we're going to use a whole different GIS technology to kind of get an idea of what we have inside of our non-maintained areas along creeks, green belts, things like that. So it's gonna be, we've got her for 1,000 hours, so we're gonna get every 1,000 hours. So, but she's been great. I mean, yeah, she really picked up on it. She's got a strong background in this kind of stuff, so.
More of the same.
Yeah, so this is gonna kind of why we're doing this. So eventually, here pretty soon, I'm gonna have to lean on Shane for the process in this. We're gonna start working on a urban forest master plan, which is gonna involve yet another subcommittee. So, and we're gonna have to get directors from multiple departments in. You know, we're definitely gonna need some citizen opinion on it. Generally, urban foresters are used mostly as advisors during that process. So I'll be there to kind of answer questions, but I won't really be making the decisions, because that's the whole point of any kind of public servant is y'all are telling me what my job is, kind of a deal. So, and then if I, you know, by the end of it, if y'all decide against everything that I say, then I might just go work somewhere else. But yeah, the urban forest master plans are usually 20 to 25 year long plans. But this is the very first step of it. And our GIS team, we have Monica and Bruce in our GIS team put this whole thing together. The background's actually our dashboard. So it's been really helpful. We've already had a citizen request wondering where all the bur oak trees were. So I was able to just narrow that down on the map, just give them a screenshot. So.
Nice.
All right.
Quick question. So whenever it comes to the plantings, is it a like a native? Like, is there a tree list within the city of Pflugerville that's used for the different types of species? If there's like tree deliveries or tree plantings that happen, like Arbor Day.
So we do have a list in our planning department. I've put in some recommendations to have a couple of those trees removed. A couple of them have moved to the invasive species list. So I want to get those kind of out of there, so developers aren't planting them. I'm not going to ever plant anything that's invasive.
Yeah.
Our top priority is always going to be Texas natives. If we can't find a Texas native that kind of meets the needs, like the food forest, we did put some Texas natives out there. The pecans, some Texas persimmon, but a lot of the prunus species that we put out there are not native, but they're not invasive, so they're exotics. So they shouldn't go into our native ecosystem and start wreaking havoc, like China berry and things like that have done really bad things to them.
I just asked the question because I know on the Pollinator Subcommittee, there's a few folks that are really interested in planting lists regarding like there are native plants and then there's like hyper producing pollinator plants that are even more productive for our environment. So I just wanted to throw it out there that it would be, I believe that they'd said that they could recommend some, maybe we could put even more preference and even more emphasis on the plants that we plant to be even more pollinator productive, not just native, but even more pollinator friendly. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Do we have a list that we give out to homeowners for their own planting?
We have a list that we give out when development comes in. That's something that
Right,
Dave's
yeah,
been
we said
working on
that,
as well,
but
just
what
seeing
are-
from a different lens. But yeah, we have recommendations. If someone reached out and just said, "Hey, I'm wanting to just do a Texas native of some sort," we have lists that we could refer to. And we'd obviously let them talk to Dave as well. And that might be something that Pollinator Committee either runs that recommendation by Dave, or Dave's at one of those next meetings where y'all can talk and he can
That'd be
give his
awesome.
feedback as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to be.
He might even show up in that Santa outfit.
Just as long as it's not in December.
No, as soon as that thing comes in, I'm never taking it off.
I'd like to add that the Tree and Care Advisory Board has discussed slight changes to how we approach the schools next year to get rid of the drama.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys don't run into the hiccups.
So
Yeah.
we had been writing letters to principals who I don't know why, they just, don't always respond, they've got these kids and staff and heaven knows what else going on. And
Right.
so we were thinking perhaps of reaching out to the grounds folks for the district and saying, these are the schools that we've always contacted. We'd like you to be that person that says they want them, and then we don't have to have, I know in one school, the principal pushed it off on the science teacher and said, here, you do the plan, and he was like, what? So we thought maybe that would help with contacting you and Junior and everybody else, because there'll be a few less cooks in the kitchen.
No, I
So
think that would
go
help
to
out a
the
lot.
district is at a higher level. and so-
Right,
and
yeah.
So you have to start
And
with a
somebody
single point
who's
of contact. with the district. That's a
ultimately
good idea.
responsible for those trees too.
Right.
And we originally went to the district maintenance superintendent, Brandon, when he was here 2 years ago. But he's no longer
Yeah,
with Pflugerville ISD. I think he's back over at Hutto, so we'd have to find that new person and reach out to him. But
That makes sense.
Okay. Item 6B, discussion regarding USDA Inflation Reduction Act update.
So, I think, pretty sure y'all are all aware, we were awarded $150,000 from the Inflation Reduction Act, U.S. Forest Service grant. The whole purpose of that grant was to basically increase forest programs all across the country. I think every state, I want to say every U.S. territory outside of those states, somebody got some money out of it. So it was the biggest injection of public funds into any kind of urban forestry program. And we got a really small piece of that, but it's fine. So where we had to find something, there was a lot of boxes that needed to be checked. So this is the area that we kind of focused on, because what they really wanted to give this money to areas that were considered disadvantaged or underserved. There's only one small section of Pflugerville that falls in that category. I did a window inspection of the Windermere neighborhood south of Gilliland Creek. About 51% of those houses either had no trees in the front yard or declining trees. A lot of them still had a lot of damage from the winter storm. And that's the area highlighted. I'm sorry, I should have said that. The area highlighted on the map. So that's Windermere south of the creek, and then Windermere north of the creek does not fall inside that area. And then right next to it is Watson Park, and then Hillside Springs. So Watson Park and Hillside Springs weren't named in the grant, but they are inside this target area. So anything that we can, if we have any leftover funds, which I don't think we will, we can definitely try to move some of those resources over to those two neighborhoods as well. But it's kind of a slow process getting money, getting this funded. It's already been promised to us. It just hasn't materialized. So, but we're expecting it to happen by March. So at that point, hopefully we'll start building some volunteers. Internally, I really like to, even if we got to knock on doors, try to get as many volunteers sourced out of this area as possible, and try to get the neighborhood kind of and as involved as they can be. So with that $150,000, that was for about, I think it was 336 trees available for residents who want them in that neighborhood. We're not going to force trees down people's throats. We're just going to really encourage them to take them from us. So, anybody who's interested in that target area, I'll give them at least one tree. This is a 5-year program, so if we get to year 4 and someone wanted 3 trees and we still have 100 trees left over, they can have 2 more trees. So, but they'll get the tree. We'll install it. Hopefully with some volunteers. If not, I'll be digging a lot of holes through it. This is going to be. We're also going to give them some mulch and some temporary irrigation systems hooked up to their hoses, so that way the trees are more likely to survive. It's less burdensome for the people to get in the trees. I've done a lot of tree giveaways in the past and driven by this neighborhood 6 months later and just saw a dead tree. So I'm trying to avoid that this time around. And of course, everyone's gonna have my contact information. If they see any issues with the trees, they should give me a call. We'll try to see what we can fix it up for them, so.
All right.
Any questions on that?
Thank you.
I really appreciate you giving the irrigation as an option.
How does that work?
That's really cool.
The hose end irrigation?
Yeah.
So it'll basically be a valve, it'll be a solar panel style valve that you just plug in, you screw it into your hose connection. You can set a timer on it.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll even set all that stuff up for them. And we'll bring the hose out to the tree, put a bubbler on the end of it, and hopefully it's a set it and forget it kind of a situation. They just need to make sure it's running. And again, if they have any issues, give me a call. So.
That's cool.
All right, thank you. Item 7A, discuss and consider items on future tree care advisory board meeting agenda.
So we have our tree care advisory board meetings quarterly. So this is the end of our 2023. The next one will be February of 2024. So is there anything that y'all want to make sure is on that agenda? You obviously have time between now and then as well, but if there was anything specifically that you wanted to make sure, we wanted to make sure we captured it.
Yeah. If there's an update from the pollinator discussion, we can bring it to the whole committee and
Yeah.
highlight that.
And anyone can add to the agenda in the future by reaching out to Lisa and asking her to add something.
Okay.
All right, item 8, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. It is 8:46 PM.